Recording is in progress. Please go right ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. So we are going to just having a quick round on the concept note of this 16 days activism for development campaign. Why we choose this towards the development, why we are not addressing in this campaign like violence against women. So I received a lot of questions nowadays that why you convert this, why you reshape this slogan, why you are not jumping in the violence against women. So we have a quick review on the concept note. In this, we are going to just focus on the objective of this campaign and what will be the outcome from this campaign and why we choose this, why we are going to select this reshaping of development component for us. So allow me to share my screen, sir.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. As the statistic shows that global gross domestic product GDP from 1985 to 2020 with projection up until 2026. In 2022, global GDP amounted to about 84.54 trillion US dollars, almost 3 trillion lower than in 2019. So this is one of the alarming, situation. Number two, like what exactly the points and the reasons and the concerns will take this campaign reshape in this research into the development. So malnutrition in all its form, including undernutrition, wasting, stunning, underweight, and inadequate vitamins or non-communicable diseases. So one by one, if we can revise this, that how much the young age or adult people having overweight, obesity, or even underweight, and also how many people are having the 45 million were estimated to be wasted to thin height. 38.9 million were overweight or obesity. Around 45 deaths among children under 5 age are linked to undernutrition. So such kind of reasons or such kind of consequences are focused us to jump us towards this campaign. Focus towards the food and nutrition, focus towards the agriculture and smart agriculture with the involvement of women, and also major focus on food securities, issues which the world is facing right now. And especially after a pandemic, we are in a great, deficiency of food, nutrition, and also having an alarming situation for the food security as well. So I think so. We have already shared this document on the group. So we are not going to read in details. We are simply going to jump in on the objectives of the campaign. Rest of the document will already shared on the group and the members. So we have three major components. Number one, innovative approaches for the agriculture. We are going to focus in this campaign. And we are also having the second major component, that's post-COVID importance of food and nutrition. And number three, smart solutions for food safety and security. So these three major components are going to be under discussion or under, observation from our platform to take them towards tangible solutions from our all participants. So major objectives of this campaign, I just going to focus on this because these objectives are going to be addressed in these 16 days. Number one, we are going to raise awareness to involve more women in agriculture. We are going to strengthen local work about to understand the importance of food and nutrition by women and train them to remove malnutrition from families as well as from communities. Establish a clear link between local and international work to ensure food security to end gender discrimination in the market, especially where, marketplaces against women. Provide a forum in which organizers can develop and share new and effective strategies. Demonstrate the role of women around the world during and post-COVID services organized and headed by women to lower gender-based violence against women. And create tools to pressure government and implementation commitments to increase the women involvement in agriculture, food security, and nutrition to eliminate poverty and gender-based violence against women. So based on these objectives, we are going to design our 16 days campaign. The methodology of this campaign is very simple, that we choose more than 16 partners, organizations, and the topic related and the thematic related platforms, which are having strong background, vibrant platforms, which is full of, the work with the agriculture, like the platform of Mem Jonkar, the platform of attached from Princess Seppi, and we have the We Are Mother Earth with us. So all these platforms are having a very, very vibrant background regarding the agriculture, regarding the food and nutrition work, and regarding the smart solution towards this food security. So this methodology is that these 16 organizations are going to address each day one organization in game, and they will discuss this about their work. They can set their own agenda. They can set their own, 2 to 3 hours session in this campaign. They can call their own speakers. They can set their own videos. They can share their whatever they want to do. They are quite having a set of time for us from our side to discuss about their work. And this work will be definitely addressed and covered our 3 components, which I have already shared. What will be the outcome of this campaign? We are going to increasing participatory spaces that allow them to identify specific actions to promote and recognize their roles in agriculture. Improving access to productive activities for women. Developing best practices with respect to gender for improving food and nutrition. Advanced technologies among female producers. Identifying lines of actions with respect to agriculture innovations. And last, enabling the participation of women in government settings, so which can address agriculture productions, association, and commissions. So this is the concept of this campaign. These are the objectives. These are the outcomes of this campaign. And I'm really very, very glad to see so many senior people full of rich experience, which can take this concept note on a very higher level. Might be this is not a very mature, especially front of your experiences, might be this is not a very mature concept note, but your experience, your work, your words can take this on a very, very higher level. And we are going to learn a lot in these 16 days to address these 3 components, which can, ultimately taking part in terms of development of the woman. Thank you so much. And Princess Epi, it's over to you.
Thank you, Miriam. As they say, our technology is only good when it works. So we have storm here in my city where I am. So now and then the network keeps on cutting. So that's why you see me coming in and out. Sorry about that. So I think I may just let you flow, Miriam, because I keep on losing track, you know, and I don't think it would be good for us. So let me let you flow. I will perhaps do the last part.
Well, now, Kurt, if you're ready, I think I have your introduction. So perhaps now would be a good time for me to read that, if I may. Thank you so much. Well, let's see here. I'm going to scroll up to my chat. Please bear with me. Again, this is Andrew Williams Jr. I'm very pleased and honored to be here among you today. This is an ongoing campaign on my behalf. I've been working now with Miriam for several months, but I was very inspired on International Women's Day conference we were able to have earlier on March 4th through the 8th of 2021. That became our first annual event, which has now grown from, at that time, involving, I believe it was 17 or people from 17 different countries that shared their viewpoints on empowerment of women. We have now branched out to the 2022 event to involve people from 50 different countries. So I'm very excited about that. Also, we grew from being the International Women's Day Conference to becoming the International and Indigenous Women's Day Conference. The idea is that on a global scale, our nations, our governments are states that represent particular boundaries. But on the scheme of things, the indigenous people make up over 3,000 tribes on Africa, another 3,000 in Asia, and multiple hundreds here in the Americas, now called, or what we refer to as Turtle Island, as the entire contiguous network. So we want to make sure that the women, the rural women, and the women that are not necessarily part of the governmental system have a part to play. So I'm very, very pleased to welcome Kurt Krueger. He lives on and cares for the ancestral land of the Tongva, just 20 miles north of Los Angeles, where I'm broadcasting from right now. Kurt is a global citizen serving a regenerative society and life on our planet. Before I go further, let me address that word regenerative. As you know, we are now in what's called the Sustainable Development Goal phase. However, that phase is only the second iteration of what was launched in 2000 as the Millennium Development Goals. The intent was for us to have a 1,000-year reign where we do, in fact, end poverty and create peace on Earth. It was UN Secretary General Kofi Annan who championed that idea. And so however, those first 8 goals were developed by a handful of people in the basement of the United Nations building in New York. There was no accountability, and many of the countries that made claims to participate and make commitments to achieve those goals did not live up to that. So in the transition from 2015 to 2030, something new was tried. There was a worldwide survey of over 3,000 people called The World We Want. So people around the world had an opportunity to put input into what we are now embracing as the Sustainable Development Goals. Also, on the continent of Africa, those 55 countries as members of the African Union, at that time it was 54, Morocco later joined, but they themselves were grappling with how to address this post-millennium development goals. So they created what's called the Common African Position on the post-millennium development goals, and that played a major role in the now 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets. However, in 2012, the Mayans had predicted that the Earth would end. Of course, we were still here. The Earth did not end, but we did enter into what's called an event level, extinct level event horizon, where the world's climate has shifted, and we're all now unable to avoid the understanding that this has actually occurred. So my contention, Kurt, is that even though we're now in what's called the Sustainable Development Goals, the word sustainable means you're only going to try to maintain a society in order not to do harm to future generations. But in terms of the reality we're facing with, I truly believe we're on the cusp of what's called the regenerative development goals. So I wanted to stop there, Kurt, and just acknowledge the fact that the regenerative agriculture and the regenerative principles that you espouse are critical to our world's future. But let me proceed. Kurt is a global citizen serving a regenerative society and life on our planet. He is one of the founders of the Peace Lab and a polymath, philosopher, explorer, alchemist for love, and programmatic futurist. And let me stop there again. Kurt, I do want to let you know I'm an alumni of an organization called Global Business Incubation that was founded back in 1991 on the campus of Loyola Marymount University as a collaboration of, excuse me, Dr. George Kosmetsky, as well as Dr. George Hess. Just a moment, let me unmute these people that are not muted and tell you that what we now know as futurism was a term that I think had a lot to do with Dr. George Kosmetsky and his work. He was, as you may know, not just the founder of Teledyne, but also the founder of the IC Square Institute in Austin, Texas. The idea was that we would actually employ blueprints that were used around the world and major corporations and have them to be adapted for not just civil society, but also entrepreneurship. But again, in that word futurist, I have to bow my head to you, Kurt, because in fact, we all are in fact need to be and must be futurists in order for our multi-generational family of people to survive. As I continue, since the 70s, Kurt has led programs on 5 continents for elite athletes, coaches, corporations, and educational institutions. He founded the Institute of Sports, Psychology, and Success Systems International in the early 1980s. He has taught in the ghettos of Los Angeles for 40 plus years, and a hijacked airplane, which all led to the offering of stress management programs at the UN and Oxford U Medical School. And Who's Who in America educators, he's helped present or promote Vegan World 2026, the Pachamama.org Alliance, Drawdown, and Character Inclusion programs. Another aside, Kurt, one of our key associates is Lloyd Elferty. He is in Markham, Canada, and he's focusing on Drawdown Markham as his way to put his footprint into the development society. In fact, in about 10 minutes, I have to leave because I'm hosting a weekly event for him. But I do want to tell you that drawdown.org is a place where all of us can go to find tools and resources to assist us in addressing the drawdown of carbon into our atmosphere so that we can have a more regenerative life. Kurt has written the best-selling series, Winning Ways for Living, produced numerous Peace Lab programs for the Humanity Rising Global Solutions. And with that, Kurt, I'll turn the floor over to you. And I thank you so very much for joining us. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for this wonderful introduction. I should have cut you short because, you know, the most important thing, oh, excuse me. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum alaikum. Namaste. Greetings.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you. Always focus on Allah, on God first. And when we focus on the ultimate and serve the ultimate, there's no need for regenerating anything. Everything will thrive because this creation gets to be respected as all the indigenous people did for millennia. And modern human beings changed that. And that's why we have to have this gathering to bring us together to be able to see about bringing solutions to the issues. Now, the big focus for this is getting women in their right place, leading the world and getting everybody to be able to be successful in thriving and giving and sharing love and light. The name of my slide presentation, which seems to have difficulty getting up, is called Women Power and Soul Force. Women's sensitivities and the way they apply nature's gifts and nature's wisdom is natural to women. They were the ones that found the herbs that could heal people. Who knew that a particular plant and their roots would be something that could heal a person of scurvy, or not scurvy, that's not the issue on that, but some other problems of life, or something else that allows us to live better. Now, modern times have looked at that and how women were the bringers of that beautiful power of nature to heal and to allow people to grow strong. Who knew what it was to eat originally? They had to sense it, and we've lost those senses. The indigenous people still have them. They see how the small little microbiome, the smallest little things in the planet Earth, actually help support the biggest things. To feed humanity, which is the big topic right now, so there's no starvation, can be done next week when people decide that all our relations are important. All of our relations. The plants, the animals, everybody. Who would look to a person? Like when I lived in the village in India, a place called Ganeshpuri, about 50 miles northeast of Mumbai. It was called Bombay when I was living there. Kids were very happy. They lived in cow dung floors, little thatched roofs and so on, but they would play and have a good time. They would give a handful of rice that was for the whole family. If I walked in the door because I was an honored guest, they would feed me, and I would, of course, not eat so much, so everybody else could be fed. This coming together and honoring the heart is what women have as their nature. My wife, I thanked God for the perfect relationship within the year. And 4 months later, I proposed to her. I had never had a date. It was something else. It was just a gift of God. Allah was gracious. If I'm living in India, I could say Shiva is gracious, or if I'm living in Jerusalem, Jesus is gracious. It doesn't matter the name you give God. But the greatest teacher I've ever had, a guy named Muktananda, his teaching was see God in each other and know that God dwells within you as you. So when we see God in each other, can we let anybody be homeless? Here in America, this big place that everybody looks up to and wants to be in, and I don't want, who would want to be here the way we're treating life? We're fighting against each other. We have homeless on the streets in the so-called richest country in the world. Why? It's a matter of the heart. And when we gather together, no matter if I have feminine energy in me too, because that's bringing in the idea of the Tao. Masculine and feminine is in all of us. Shiva and Shakti, the balance. It's all the balance of life. When we bring harmony to life, that's why people love such good music. People can mellow out with music. People can be inspired. Just like when one of the hours for prayer, when you hear the call to prayer, it tunes you in to know I get to commune with Allah, with God. I get to be able to know, love, and serve God. My prayer is to do that in every thought, word, and deed. Every day at waking. Then I meditate. Then I go about the day doing what I am doing now, just sharing the love and the inspiration that can create a geodesic dome. There was a man, a very famous man in America, doesn't matter where, really, doesn't matter at all. But this man was a guy named Buckminster Fuller. He got kicked out of Harvard 2 times. He married a rich woman, blew her money. He had his child, his little girl, die in his arms. And he got so depressed that he started to walk off into Lake Michigan, and he was going to swim out and die. But as he's walking out, he has an epiphany. He has this voice bursting. Your body's not yours. It's the universe's. Do good work and you'll always be taken care of, just in the nick of time. He hears this powerful voice and he walks out and goes back home and does not leave his home for 2 years. He meditated, prayed, read. His office, if you ever got a chance to go into his office had stacks of books all over his office, just stacked up all over. And you wind your way through the books and you talk with him. And if you say something and he doesn't quite know an answer, he'll walk over to that area and he'll pull out a book and he'll give you the answer. He was an amazing genius. He created 500 patents. But guess what? He was connected with his heart. He stayed connected with what he heard. So every month, he would zero out his bank account, no matter when he was first starting to create all these inventions like the geodesic dome and so on. But he zeroed out his bank account. He would give all that wealth of his bank account away to quality charities. He was not like Bezos. He was not like so many of these people who have tons of money. Again, there's a reason why we have all of this starvation, is quality of character. The character of a human being should be guided by the heart, not the head, because the head has the mammalian brain and reptilian brain, as well as the new brain, the neocortex. And one of those brains is a fight or flight, is I need this so I don't starve. So that's why it's odd, people who are obese are eating the wrong food, and that's why they overeat. Because their body craves something that they're not getting. When we eat correctly, when we eat more vegetarian food, more people would be fed on the planet. And I said more vegetarian food. having a green living diet, because what is living has all that life force in it. And it allows you to become thriving. A quick example, a little breakaway. This body had been a swimmer in college. 11 years later, my twin brother talked me into entering the International Senior Olympics. It was age group swimming above 25, international. I ended up winning 4 gold medals. I had not trained in over 11 years. The reason I feel that I was able to do that is because of my meditation, because I've been doing it for years, an hour a day, and because of the food that I was eating. I was eating at that time all live food. I was eating food that had been grown by Gaia, by Mother Earth, by the planet, in a holistic way, in an organic way. And that fueled this body so everything could work and be fed and function at its optimum. The meditation allowed me to not think about me not having trained. I just went out and thought I'm going to do this, and I did it. Guess what? Again, in a race, before a race, I found out one of my competitors was a normal Olympian, and he had been, of course, training for this. So when I did the 200-meter breaststroke, at the 100-meter mark, because I'm thinking about this guy, I was not doing so well. Some other people started passing me. And I was up with him initially, but then I was thinking about him instead of my race. I was not swimming, I was thinking. I caught my mind at the 100-meter mark, doing what it was doing. And then I just started what I call booking it. I started just going. And guess what? I took second. I didn't get first, but I did get second. And that was another senior Olympic competition, not the first one. So what can't we do? We can be creative like Buckminster Fuller and create the means to feed everybody. How do you do it? Every day, I walk up the hill. This happens to be a bunch of seeds that I picked up. You know, if you eat a mango, most people throw away the seed. Why? That good mango, we could plant it anywhere that has enough land to be able to have it grow. And then periodically go back and water it if you need to, because like for me, there hasn't been rain in California in a long time. So I bring water up to the places where I plant it. I give these away. When I go to a meeting, I have these at the door in a bowl, and I ask people before they leave to grab a handful and plant them around. What will that do with these seeds? It will grow oak trees. What will oak trees do? They will allow other things to grow under it. They will allow animals to grow under it. They will allow insects to thrive so that all these other animals feed off of insects and so on. We are an interconnected biome. We are all one force. So we have a way to be able to connect. How do we connect? Right now, we're connected on the internet. If you feel that you stop losing your heart connection, when I feel that I've come away from my heart in speaking, I will raise my hand up like this. It's like I need to pause. Now this in some countries is a sign if a police officer's in the middle of the road, you stop. So it's a pause that refreshes to get me back into focus. And Miriam allowed me to be able to have this opportunity to inspire all the gifts that are being given by Sharmista or anybody else on the panel that is going to be presenting these 16 days. If you're not inspired to apply this kind of idea, what you learn doesn't matter. So many people have graduated from schools after having denigrated people, after having put them down, after having bullied them. And what do? They go into life bullying others because they don't feel so good about themselves. Nobody's honored them as a human being. The gift of life, the gift of life is a gift. And the most important thing for us to do is to be present with who we are with. How many people give so many paisa, so many rupees, or so many little coins to people on the street that are begging? If you don't, just a few, the heart hardens a little bit. But the important thing is actually not giving just rupees or something, but to give a question. Is there any way I may help you? Or how is it that you came into this situation? Talk with the person as they're human beings. That's what they crave most. I used to bring people into a little restaurant and feed them a breakfast. I don't have all the money in the world. I've been an educator all my life, and educators should be paid the highest because they're bringing people into being the best scientists, the best homemakers, the best, all the different things that you want. And how do we pay teachers? We have our quality of life is not focused on what we really value. When we focus the funding on the values of life, imagine if we took the money from at least the same amount of money from space exploration or space trips and use it for the help of humanity. I have a button and I sometimes wear it. It's called Be the Hope of Humanity. How are you the hope of humanity today? You can ask yourself. Now, we have Miriam is the guiding light of this whole conference. So she took this idea and ran with it because it was following her heart. I started with a number of other people, the Peace Lab, just this little guy. I'm 6 foot tall, 180 pounds. And this little guy from San Fernando, this little town, a poor town in California, was able to speak at the United Nations, was able to start this Peace Lab. What can't you do? Most people think I'm only, instead of I'm a child of God. If you're a child of God, you've been given a gift. What is your gift to give? Why are you here? Follow your dharma, follow your vocation. My identical twin brother wanted to become a priest. We were raised Catholic. Catholic means universal. I'm more Catholic than when I was Catholic. Now, I say that because I've lived in Hindu monastery, ashram. I've run one even. I've lived in a Buddhist place. I've studied all the religions. The only one I have not finished the Quran. It's the only holy book in the world that I have not finished. But inshallah, I will finish it. The gifts are here. How are you? We, the gift of humanity. We have so much that we get to do. And I say get to, we don't have to. We're not working at it. For me, I work a 16-hour day. 7 days a week, most of which is not paid, because this heart has me doing what I'm here for. When funding comes in, it goes to where it's needed most. This is where we live simply so others can simply live. You are the force. You are the light force. We are the light force. And nothing can stop us. We don't need the United Nations. We don't need the government in the United States or in Pakistan or Afghanistan or in Mali or any place. We do not need any governments. That's the bane of humanity, because the people have not taken control of the governments. You saw that in COP in Glasgow. They did not do a thing of positive action coming from that conference. They had 400 jets, private jets, fly people there. Most of them were from companies like ExxonMobil or all these polluters. But who knew? The press doesn't say that. Why? The press is bought out by, so the media tries to divide, and we are here in unity with people from Africa, with people from Asia, with people from North America, with, God willing, some people from South America. We are doing it. The little bit that we can do is like the boy walking on the beaches and throwing some starfish into the ocean again. There's thousands of starfish. But at least the boy answers, why are you doing that? There's so many. Well, at least they're saved. Save whom we can. When we look at this life and realize we have a gift, we get to give it, and we plan. This is one thing that is not done in modern society. It's all about the bottom line. This year, the corporations rule America. Why? Because they said corporations are people, and they are not people. They have no hearts. They have no souls. But there was a ruling that was made in America that said corporations are, and it may be the same in your country. The thing is, they run the media, and that includes the newspapers and all of that. But this internet is making us free. The people, because we have the internet. I love Rehan Alawala giving away all these cell phones so people can tune in to the internet. Rehan is a gift to humanity. A true gift to humanity. I was supposed to be on another call today, and I'm missing it because of this, because I was asked yesterday to be able to do this actually as a keynote. But I will be coming back on periodically and hang out with you guys, because we get to fuel each other. We get to give that Shakti, as they say in Sanskrit. That Shakti is this divine energy that we've been given by Allah. What is it to be used for? Now, how is it? I'm going to be able to stay on a little bit longer in regard to answering questions and things. But I'd like to offer you a gift right now. A gift of calming your mind, a gift of focusing your mind on allowing the inspiration to happen. And it's a practice that's called the Peacemaker. And I'd like you to lean forward, like you're bending forward, looking at your toes, and you have your hands out in front of you, like as if you're holding a tray in front of you. So you bend forward. Now, what happens when we bend back? The natural thing for the human body when we bend backwards is to breathe in. So as we breathe in, we're going to breathe in and say out loud, peace in everything. As we bend forward, we say everything with peace. So it's peace in everything, everything with peace. Come on, you get to do this. This is not just a lecture. Peace in everything, everything with peace. Why do we bend forward? Peace in everything, everything with peace. We do this because it creates a muscle memory, as well as when you say peace in everything, it brings it inside. The thought goes inside, and everything with peace goes everywhere. Peace in everything. It's like you're opening your hands to give something, you're giving peace, the peace from inside. Peace in everything, everything with peace. I'll put that link to a 15-minute description about this and why it's very useful in the chat. And you can put it on the YouTube or Facebook or whatever, wherever it is. But the important thing is, do this anytime throughout your day when your mind gets distracted. And then you go into peace in everything, everything with peace. And the mind gets calmer because the mental concentration of just those chosen words calm the mind down. But the breathing, as you're breathing in slowly and out slowly, allows you to be able to calm the brain, because the heart rate is calmed down when the breath is calmed down. When the brain is calmed down, like with the peace in everything, everything with peace, we are more peaceful. And throughout the day, it will, what you might call, germinate. It will digest, and you will become more peaceful. You have an inspiration to do this or to call somebody that somehow you called them because they needed help. They needed your beautiful energy. You know that you're in tune with friends when they give you a call in that state. So we have so much to offer. The big thing is, you can share, if you have extra money, you can share it with those in need. If you would like to fuel through finances, the Peace Lab, you can feel free to do that. You want to help support any of these endeavors, do it the way you can with your efforts, especially from the heart. Because giving paisa or rupees or any kind of money, dong or whatever, is not such a gift of the heart necessarily. It's an automatic. Whereas when you give some actions and some caring, that brings forth all the 16 days wisdom and knowledge, because a lot of this is about knowledge, not about wisdom. And what does the world need most these days? Any day. The wisdom of not only the elders, but the youth. The youth are the ones that get to change the world. We started it off in the 60s. We hippies, we used to have long beard and long hair. Well, who cares what we look like now? Look at me now. I mean, inshallah, I got to 30 countries and got to share what I learned. And so much of life, all of life, is actually a gift. It's a gift to receive. And when you receive it, you get to give it. As your love grows, if you've ever been in a program with the Dalai Lama or a great saint or a great sadhu or whoever, somebody who has so much love, you feel it. I got to hang out with Wangari Maathai, who's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Desmond Tutu. My brother in South Africa lived a couple blocks away from Nelson Mandela. There's another, Madame Sirleaf is another one that I got to meet. And what magic. You can meet all these people, but the thing is, you don't need to look up to all of them. You get to be that energy. You get to be that love. You get to be that wisdom. And then all of these things happen very quickly. The Peace Lab grew very quickly. Why? Because people saw they could take a little bit of action. And in my bio in the chat, you have a link to the Peace Lab. Other networks, I heard so many of these speakers say that you have these beautiful organizations and you're doing great work where you are. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Whew. Put your network and put yourself in othernetworks.org. Go to othernetworks.org and put a page for yourself because you're respectable and you're doing good work. And also put your organization's page in there. Put their link and any other thing that you want to tell people about your organization. It's a compendium. It's like a big library where you can go and find out any place, anywhere, anytime, the things that people in the world are doing good. You can find out what people are doing good in Sri Lanka. There's a number of people doing incredible work there. I've had dialogues with them and worked with them. After the tsunami, I went to South India to be able to help down in South India because the tsunami hit down there. We had an affordable housing technology and so on. We offered it to a lady named Amachi. Amrita Nandamai is her full name. She lives down near Cochin. It's something you could build a 500 square foot structure in 24 hours with 7 unskilled laborers. And it would withstand hurricane force winds and earthquakes. That kind of technology is available now. This was way back in, what was it, the early 2000s when the tsunami hit. Holy cow, what's available now? What can we do now? We can create more, newer and better using natural fibers. Like most people don't know the value of hemp or bamboo. Bamboo and hemp are the two most important kinds of crops you could just about grow. You could not only have houses with it, you can have clothes with it, and clothes lasting longer than cotton. And it grows faster and easier with less water than cotton. Who knew? And if you're a wise person and also knowledgeable about how to make money, start growing hemp. And I'm not saying marijuana, I'm saying hemp, because you don't want to have that kind of a crop that you need to. It's okay to use that as a medicine because it removes pain. Hemp, God gave us all these plants to help us. And this is something that you can have people in the 60s. I was going down old little roads. I would drive down old roads anywhere in America because I would want to see new territory, unexplored territory. And I would throw seeds out. What kind of seeds were they? They were marijuana seeds. It was illegal in those days. But the rules are made for the guidance of wise men and the obedience of fools. That's a quote from Sir Lord Bader. Rules are made for the guidance of wise men and the obedience of fools. I never went back to see where that marijuana grew and how it grew, but I threw it in places that it would grow. And what would it do? It would provide food, shelter, and clothing for animals. It would provide, if people saw it and knew what it was, they might get stoned. It would save them money, and the money could be used for their fueling their body or helping somebody else. I don't know. I leave that up to God. Inshallah. So we have so much to do. And I feel that those people who got to be able to hear this can take any time. You could support if you're a technology person, you could actually help support in doing some of the work of other networks because they need people to input things. They need people to do simple things like that. Inputting things into the other networks of there's a program that I've been designing programs for. It's called Humanity Rising Global Solutions Summit. And that program has about 20,000 people at least today watching it. They have people from all over the world giving their love and light and efforts like you're doing now each day. Some are incredibly well known, like Desmond Tutu was on. We've had Wangari Maathai, I'm excuse not Wangari, we've had Vandana Shiva on and so on, Charles Eisenstein, and many, 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 many top people like Stanislav Grof and so on of transpersonal psychology and so on. So I can put into the chat also links to that and so on. So I'm going to stop now and thank you for being here and for being the hope of humanity. And I send you off to know, love, and serve God in every thought, word, and deed.
Namaste. Walaikum assalam. Thank you so very much. And one of my mentors was Ram Dass, who recently.
I knew him. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Making the transition. And with Buckminster Fuller, his geodesic dome was the inspiration for intershelter domes. Here in Los Angeles, we had the Justiceville with Ted Hayes that's had for several years a complete community of these geodesic domes in downtown Los Angeles that were powered by solar and provided an eco-village in the heart of downtown Los Angeles. So we do, in fact, look forward to finding ways we can bring this technology back into use, particularly as you know, here in Los Angeles, we too are suffering with climate refugees. We're suffering with refugees, displaced persons. This is no different than the refugees around the world. So the better able we are, Kurt, to connect our dots together, the more able we will be to express humanity around the world. So I'll be quiet now and turn it back over to Miriam or to the audience if they have questions. And please.
Just say one other thing.
Yes, sir.
Because my house has had maybe about 3 weeks where there was not a house guest, that some of which we didn't know. We had a homeless person from downtown living here. We had a woman living here for 3 years on and off because she was helping the most devastated rainforest in the world, the Mata Atlântica, which is down in Brazil. It's on the coast area. And she's actually got a TED Talk. Her name is, that just escaped me, but that doesn't matter. So anybody can do just about anything. Be creative, like he mentioned about having these domes in downtown anywhere. Imagine people would be inspired with that kind of thing, or using this technology that I mentioned about South India. We can do it very inexpensively. There's nothing we cannot do. The only picture in my book, this crazy book, is a picture of a man lifting over 7,000 pounds with one arm. He lifted it off a standard, but he lifted it off the standard 3 out of 5 times after midnight. He was over 60 years old. His name is Sri Chinmoy. He used to teach meditation at the United Nations. And he has incredible, you can see videos about him and so on. He's a trip and a half. Very great soul. But he isn't a great soul. We just get to open that greatness. We just get to let it go. And we get to thrive. So thank you. Next.
Yeah, please in the chat, Kurt, put any and all links that you can. We're going to save the chat, and I'll be able to share with anyone who's put their email in the chat. I'll share with them anything that you put in the chat. And also I'll send a replay of this video. We are streaming on Facebook to our Encounter Think Tank group. So that will be accessible even after it's over. And each 16 days, we hope to be able to edit that into a documentary so that we can then share it on the Universal Citizens Media Network. We have multiple platforms. And Kurt, you may not believe it, but we have a way to reach millions of people and they don't even know about it.
What makes you think I wouldn't believe it? There's just about nothing I don't believe in regards to love and light and what it can do.
Joan Kerr, your hand is raised. I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Hi, Kurt. Thank you for your presentation. My organization hosts an annual event called Peacekeepers Day, which is a day that was was brought about by a Canadian Prime Minister to acknowledge the work of peacekeepers started in Korea originally. You mentioned the Peace Lab that you're involved in.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what is the mandate of that lab and how it has impacted any communities that you've initiated?
Yes, people are doing regenerative agriculture all around. We've gotten the Soil Sponge Collective here in Southern California. Like I mentioned, I live on Tongva land. I care for that because it is our land. It is not mine. It is not just the Tongvas, because that's how the indigenous really have the knowledge. They really have that idea. All of this is ours. Nestle Corporation runs the world into the death, because they're taking all the waters, underground waters, and selling it and profiting from it. That is the people's water. It took how many eons to be able to get down into the underground aquifer? How long will it take to get to the aquifer after this? The way we've destroyed I live at the foot of the San Gabriel Mountains in a place called Cagle Canyon. I had a bear on my doorstep. I've had, all kinds of animals around and everything. But these hills used to have trees all over them. To build Los Angeles, they cut them down. And that used to absorb all the rainwater. It would prevent the erosion. It was providing habitat for all the bears and the deer and all the squirrels and so on. And we destroyed it, and it did. We are in the midst of the 5th great extinction right now. If you want to be afraid, and I don't buy into fear at all, but if you want to really see what has happened, it covers the earth and the waters. So it's called Eating to Extinction. It's a documentary that just came out maybe a month ago at the most. Eating to Extinction. Or you see Seaspiracy, S-E-A, spiracy, like conspiracy, but Seaspiracy. It shows what has happened in the oceans. And nobody knows because they don't want you to know. Now, I'm saying that's we allowed it. The people allowed it.
Yeah, I know the environmental side of it, sorry. But in some communities, what's happening is food is being created as or the lack of food, stealing of food is creating what they call weapons for famines. So in order to placate people during war, they take the food. So I'm just wondering, I just wanted to have a sense of the Peace Lab, and I know it obviously has an environmental message, but do you have any on the ground campaigns that we can capacity build on or join or?
There's people doing it all over the world in their own areas. And the Peace Lab page that we have on other networks has a whole variety of things where you can see and do things. I'll give you an example in education. Character education is the most valuable practice that we can do today for the future. It makes the people, but character education doesn't just stop in schools. And it doesn't just start in schools. There, I'll put something on that right now too in the chat. We produced a program for Humanity Rising. It was our last one that we've done so far. And it's called Character Inclusion for Regenerating Societies. Because we look 7 generations down. And when you have people who, the first 2 values that are taught are love and peace. Love and peace. All the other values, respect, responsibility, caring, kindness, helpfulness, whatever, they all come from love and peace. Love brings peace, and peace brings the ability to care for everything. Let me get this off. So are there any other?
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful discussion. And definitely in our coming sessions, we love to see your presentations also, which you have shared in your, first of all, I would like to thank a few other participants also, members, which joined us during your discussion. This is Asif Mahmood Farooq Saab. He is the director of Al-Muqit Lab. Al-Muqit Lab is producing fertilizer and so many other vast working in agriculture. Sir, I would like if you unmute yourself and introduce yourself also. And I have seen Heather Awan Saab also on the forum. So yes, sir, Asif Farooq Saab, kindly unmute yourself and introduce your organization and yourself.
Thank you very much, Mariam. It was a bit of a surprise when I joined, and I really got fascinated from the message and wisdom of educationist and very senior person. Actually, that's the right way to give back to the society the knowledge or wisdom which we have gained or generated to help the less privileged communities. And in this summer, along with Mariam, in our organization, which is called Al-Muqit Labs, we are working on a number of things. But before going into detail of what we are doing, I spent my life in the food security arena. By professional, I'm an agriculture economist. Luckily, I had the experience of working with the United States Department of Agriculture also. And in the process, I learned in a couple of regional countries and even in Pakistan and Afghanistan, the striving for food, the rural families, lack of knowledge, how to get healthy and nutritious food, how to make a living out of their marginal farmings. So we decided to work on taking out the synthetics from the system, especially the plant protection management system, like pesticides, synthetic pesticides. So our organization is working on human, animals, and plants health and nutritional arena. And we believe that our next generation, especially the ones coming from the rural communities, will face bigger challenges to find employment opportunities or finding options to join to feed the rising families and rising number of people at home. So in our organization, we designed an out-of-box thinking and out-of-box strategies, how to make the upcoming generation as a productive part of the system, and how they can join the employment or economic activities without dependence on the others. So we started grooming the yuppies, the young professionals, the willing farmers, training them. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I hope everything is fine.
As he's dealing with his issue, I'd like to be able to address something. It's beautiful to see that this idea of keeping a little bit more biodiversity and using natural fertilizer rather than these other kinds of fertilizers. That is so, so important. The biodiversity is the biggest issue on the planet right now. And it's the small farmers. 40 acres is the maximum size for a real productive integrated farm with, like free range animals and so on, and having all kinds of different kinds of crops grown, because the crop variety is important for refueling the soil, as well as for making it so if one crop has a bad year, guess what? You're still supporting, you don't lose your farm. But these big monoculture kind of farms, the farmers in India are so smart to be able to unite and to be able to do something about this craziness that they've been forced to do, instead of having the old kind of farms that the people had. Yes, that is he ready to come back on, or we're doing something else?
Thank you so much. I think so. Asif Farooq Saab is having some issues, and he's not on the call right now. So, Princess Epi, this is almost ending of today's session, and I would like to take remarks first of all from your side, and then we are going to announce our tomorrow's session organization and speaker, and who is taking the next day's session. So I think so after your remarks we will take suggestions, and also if someone voluntarily sharing their platforms one by one, it's all up to you. If you want to, that we choose you as per your dates and easily availability as per your agenda. So it's entirely up to you. So it's over to you, ma'am, and then we will take the tomorrow's sessions and organization, which is taking lead for tomorrow's session.
I just would thank you so much, Miriam. I just would like to say what a fantastic session. Thank you so much, Mr. Kurt Krueger. We are very familiar. I am in South Africa. We are very familiar with your names here in South Africa. Krueger. So yes. on Sprat Afrikaans, what I'm saying is that we also speak Afrikaans, which is more related to your name. So thank you so much. You reminded me of how we grew up, of the things that we have forgotten about Mother Nature, how it is in us, how you really did. And I was so inspired. I think you could see on the chat that I was reminded of who we really are. And thank you so very much. And I would like to say thank you to everybody who is here. I think Dr. Tamara is still traveling, so we haven't seen her. Otherwise, she would have given us her final remarks on this very first day. And I am so interested to know, when is the day that Joan is going to be coming on?
And also, as Dr. Asif is back,
yes,
Dr. Asif is also. I'm sorry.
Taking, no problem. Sorry. Before taking the tomorrow's organization with us, we have again Asif Farooq Saab with us again. I think so we can take remarks from him and then we can announce our tomorrow's organization. So Asif Farooq, if you are with us, and you can unmute yourself and you can complete your talk, please. Asif Farooq sir, if you are with us, so you can unmute yourself and you can complete your talk, which you are in process. Okay, I think so he's not listening us. Now, ma'am, it's again over to you to announce the tomorrow's organization.
I think that Andrew wanted to say something. Please take
Yes, sir.
your minutes, sir.
Oh, no, I was just going to also say that Asif was back with us. That was my only comment. So, but he's unable to join us, it seems. Oh, it says
All right.
we need to allow him to unmute. So let's see if I can assist him. Hold on just one moment.
Right.
Sir, I think so, sir needs to unmute from your side.
Yes, it's up to him. It's up to him to unmute.
Okay, sir, you can now unmute yourself, please. Asif sir, you can unmute yourself.
Asif, it's at the bottom of your screen. If you can hear us, there's a little sign at the left hand corner, at least on my screen, if that helps.
We hope so.
Maybe put your camera on so we can see you that you're hearing us. No?
Asif sir, you can unmute yourself. It's allowed from our side. He said your system is not letting me.
Then he may need to go out and come back in. His system is, it may be on his side. Everyone else can function. Maybe he has to go out and come back in. That's the only suggestion I can think of.
Okay, in between, he's in process. So now the pattern of the entire campaign is this. So we have a lot of platforms with us, which you have seen on the poster as well of the background. So we are going to request each day one particular organization can take lead with their own agenda. So they can call their own speakers, they can call their own presentations, they can call their own work, videos, entrepreneurs, field activities, whatever they want to do, and whatever they want to show to the world under these three components, they can add in their agenda. So this is 2 to 3 hours session on daily basis till 10th of December. So 10th of December is the closing day of this campaign with a lot of, stuff, lot of impact, lot of, recommendation from you, all of us. So as per tomorrow's 26th of November, Friday, and I think so it's, we can announce today that who is going to take lead tomorrow's session.
Yes, you can now take us out of suspense, Miriam. I will be moderating tomorrow. I'll make sure that I'm on 30 minutes before. I'll wake you up, Ambassador Andrew, and we'll be here on the high spirit. We will be taking the second day, and I just would like to say, please do come back and please do invite. It is now happening. We want to showcase all the great work that women are doing in agriculture in your own country, in your own city, in your own rural area. You know what? In this decade of action, while we are working on the Agenda 2030. You know our slogan as it goes, we want to leave no one behind. Everybody must be on here, whether it's a large-scale farmer or agriculturalist, or even just a soup kitchen woman there at home, or a group of young people. We are not discriminating. We would like you as well. Please do come tomorrow and also other days. So you can let us know tomorrow who will be on board. Who will I be driving with, Miriam?
I think so we can choose Ma'am John Kerr with her powerful agenda.
Yay! Yay!
And I have one request, Sir Andrew.
Is it same time, same place?
Don't care,
Sir
I'm with you tomorrow.
Sir Andrew,
normally-
Asif Farooq Saab is requesting you that you can take him, like you can unmute him and allow him to show the video.
But Miriam, I'm not
Yes.
muting him. I've asked him to unmute several times. Everyone can do whatever they.
Yes.
It's on the individual.
All the
Okay.
controls are.
So while we're waiting,
Tomorrow
I
we
want to
have
say,
tomorrow we have Victory Gardens with us, and we are taking our second day of this campaign, and we will definitely start the marketing of our second session, and we are going to put the posters in, and whatever we can do in terms of marketing of our second session tomorrow. And thank you so much, ma'am, to accept this invitation from our side. And we hope that we are going to having a powerful things tomorrow from your side.
thank you. I look forward to it. I love talking Victory Gardens, and I will talk Victory Gardens forever. So.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
on that note, well, again, thank Sir Krueger for joining us, and we hope you'll be here as often as you can. I did put the information for contacts in the chat. Everyone, please save the chat. If I have your email, I will send it out to you as well. So with that, I'm going to begin the end, unless there's any closing thoughts or comments.
The biggest thought I have for right now is this beautiful, beautiful collaboration. This is the survival of the fittest, is when we collaborate and do teamwork. That's what Darwin's really proved. The other industries and so on said it was the survival of us guys, whereas it's really the survival of those that interrelate, like interfaith and interbe, as this nice, incredible person who should have won a Nobel Prize, Thich Nhat Hanh said, interbe. You stay being when you're with others. And that's what we get to do in life. I really thank you for your efforts in bringing life to light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And with that, we're going to conclude today's session. Loved everyone. Have a fantastic day. And as soon as I can find out how to end it, I will do so. And I did. Goodbye to all.